Hello. Welcome to Podchat Live. I'm gonna go ahead and add Sambaza. Sambaza is here. Keep it dirty. Hey, go ahead. Waiting on Sambaza. There we go.
All right. There we go. I can hear you now.
Okay. Why is your internet like you're looking like that?
What do you mean my internet is looking?
Oh, hey, Mrs. Lawson. What happened to your background? Where are you?
Who, me?
Hmm.
Hey, I'm changing up places.
No, we want the yellow background. That was an amazing background. We don't want binders, eh?
No. You see the way it is? It's looking professional, right?
If you say so. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing awesome. Everything is good. Actually, I was at a rally this past weekend. That's why I'm a bit off, but it was good. We were doing this thingy, not this thing. It was a protest about the hashtag finance bill, and that was one of the things that we were kind of passionate about. And as a podcaster, you have to be versatile, and that's the reason why I got myself.
You have to be?
You have to be. Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll debate about the have to, because this is
Maybe you can put it.
because this is those norms. Who says we have to, right? So we shall have that conversation. But for those people
Next month, right?
No, next month is my topic. I don't know. But for those people who don't know about this rally, do you want to share a bit of what's going on? Because Kenya is your home, and there's a lot that has been going on. And you just said you were in a rally, and that's so you want to give an insight for those people who probably have no clue what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. So generally, what was going on was that we were. Excuse me about that. I just had to make some tweaks here. So what's happened is over the last couple of weeks, or like last week, Kenya, there was a bill that was supposed to be put through, and this was a finance bill. It's been very contentious, and the president has always wanted to raise taxes. Yes, we have a problem with taxes now. Because of that, we've always tried to raise our taxes to be able to meet the budget. However, on the last time that we were doing this budget thing, it was kind of off a little bit, and there was some money that they were trying to raise, which was not going to work. One, it was talking about sanitary pads for women that they were going to charge, bread, tax. I'm going to highlight a few: bread and what else? Diapers. Now, for what we thought is, how ludicrous are you to charge something like that? But what we realized, what some people realized, that there was a game plan here, this smoking mirrors. So they wanted to push in this, and they know people will be angry. And then after that, retract it. After you retract it, you get into a situation where, they look at you like, oh, you're the almighty, you listen to us and we're all great. And, you really listen to the people. And yet, then after that, as you're hoodwinked, things pass through. So unfortunately, the Gen Zs came out and said, look, we don't like it, and we're going to fight for our rights. And that's what's happened over last week on Tuesday. Tomorrow, there's going to be another rally as well. But when it started off on Tuesday, now the diaspora also had to get in. So we formed a group and went out to Dallas and did our protest at the Dallas City Plaza. And at that time, at 1 o'clock, when it was happening, there was also another rally going on in Washington, D.C. at 1 p.m. and also another one that was going on in California at 1 p.m. So there was kind of like some type of arrangement that it was going to be at 1 o'clock synchronized, but it's with the time zones, it's not going to be the same. So that was the whole thing. But they're expecting to have one major one tomorrow. So guys, watching the news, and please work on the hashtag Reject Finance Bill 2024. And this will go out a long way to help bring out awareness regarding this finance bill.
Oh, wow. Shout out to the Gen Zs. The Gen Zs are not about the bullshit, and they're taking action. So I love that. And good For
And
y'all.
quick too. They really did their thing. They were up in arms, and they made sure that people are aware. And one thing about their protest was that, imagine, it was peaceful. They were not going to kind of. There was no looting or hitting out of the businesses. Actually, the businesses were helping them. Doctors were helping them. That was one cute thing about this particular thing, this particular protest.
But
Unfortunately,
I feel like
it's
most protests they start with the intention of that. It's some of the people who end up coming out. That it's not like anybody says, "Oh, we're going to start a protest because we want to root or spoil small businesses." It's just that when people start saying, because yes, you guys protested, but it's not as a big crowd as when Black Lives Matter protest, right? Because it's affecting the entire country, but yours it's affecting like East Africa, Africa, like a specific part, so not everybody was out. But when it gets that and the police come out, and then the police, the way they react, and people feel the opportunity, oh my God, there's so many people on the streets, it's now we can do whatever. But when it's more like that, who's gonna start rooting? Like you're gonna know exactly who started doing what, and easy to catch them, and like so. I love that, and as Raphael said, we are wishing you all the best. I know one time Tanzania we had during Magufuli, I believe we also did a protest here in Washington and stuff, and it didn't do shit, but it was good to see that people are standing up for what's not right. So, and hopefully one day this protest will end up doing something, but at least it distracts. It brings conversations. Eyes are open, so that's still something.
That's the whole thing. And you start, you do one thing. I know is you create relationships, because when you come about, when you meet up with the people, you always have this issue, not issue, but you have this thing where you meet people, create conversations, and then later on, these conversations can morph into bigger things. And also, if you bring kids out there, remember, when you bring these kids out there, they get to see your, civil movement. They see how you are working out how you're exercising your rights, be it here and in Kenya. By the way, shout out to the Dallas PD, man. They were really helpful. The thing, I think it was about 24 to 48 hours when we were putting in our request for the right to protest. I'm telling you, it's really easy, and they were really helpful. And I think there was another march that was supposed to be done tomorrow, but they were asking the questions. It wasn't like we were being told, "Hey, no, you can't." No, it was just like, "What can we do to help you do your thing?" Unlike in our home country, Kenya, where it was.
I mean, of course, the government won't want. The government ain't gonna want to hear the shit. So why would they be helpful in making you easy to protest? Literally, you want us to help you to shout at us, kind of thing, So I am glad that at least the process was easy, and as I said, we're praying for y'all and wishing you all the best. Here's to hoping that other African countries and Gen Zs also learn and take action, because it's been amazing to watch the Gen Zs take action in Kenya and stand up. So that's been incredible. But back to our regular schedule now that we are
right.
For anybody who's new, this is Podchat IG live series that me and Sambaza do once a month. Technically, it's supposed to be every last Saturday of the month, but sometimes shit happens, scheduling. Sadly, next Saturday is my birthday, and I am sorry, as much as I love y'all people, I will not be able to jump on here and celebrate with y'all, because I will also be in a conference. Yeah, but apart from that, also, me and Sambaza were gonna do it last Saturday, but something came up with him. Then we're gonna do it on Sunday. Something came up with me, so here we are today. And I almost canceled because I'm PMSing, like legit. But I figured maybe this is the energy I needed, because I was being down. So sometimes coming in here and having these conversations can bring out the energy. And this month, Sambaza gets to choose the topic, and I like how that stayed well, because it's mental health month, and Sambaza was the one choosing the topic, even though it's my birthday month. So I was kind of salty about that, but I'll take July, no problem. It's still summer. Okay. So Sambaza
Yes.
wanted to talk about the 3 C's: comparison, competition, collaboration. How does it help a growing podcaster? So Sambaza, this is your topic. Start us off.
So this was a conversation that actually came out from Empowered Podcasting. Some people were talking about how we can help each other out. And I think these 3 things were mentioned at that point. And I was like, wow, this can be a great topic that we can discuss about podcasting, especially African podcasters as well, because the African element bringing into it has its own specifics and its own, variables. It's not the same as when you're all here, like diasporan podcasters and podcasters in Africa. So we decided on calling it the 3 C's, which is comparison, competition, and collaboration. I think we'll start off with comparison.
Before you start, let me just say this.
Right.
And this is not to call out Empowered Podcasting Room or any specific clubhouse room or community, but I see it a lot where we talk so much about how we can help each other. And then when it comes to the helping part, it's really crickets.
Mhm.
Like the talking is always so loud. But then do people even reach out to actually do what they talk in there? Hardly. A few people collabo in Empowered, but also I've been there for going to 2 years, and it's been a topic, but which a lot should have been done. Like even when it came to reviewing each other's podcasts, nobody does it. Doing this, but then people are always complaining about it. But so it's like I am tired of people just talking the talk and not doing the work. Like, but okay, go on. Comparison.
What do you suggest? What do you suggest on that?
Action instead. I mean, take action. I'm tired of the talk. Do the action. Like I remembered, I kept on complaining about, I'm always asking for reviews. People are not leaving reviews for me. But then I looked at it. I was like, but am I leaving reviews for people? I wasn't. So I started every Monday or Tuesday. I'll listen to a few episodes. I'd leave reviews. I even would post on Facebook, hey, if you want me to leave a review, drop a link for your favorite episode. I go listen it and leave. Oh yeah, we are talking about, I'm not growing, whatever. Okay, there's promotion swap or anything. If I know, listen, Sambaza is a market in Kenya. I'm trying to get into that market. All I have to do is send you a message. Hey, Sambaza, you want to do a promo swap? But if we're just constantly talking and not taking the action, what's the point of the conversations? Just to keep talking?
Yeah, that's true. What I found out is whenever you, like, for example, when you go to the festival, the conference, right, and you have the talk with the people to collaborate, get that collaboration within the first 2 weeks of you talking. Don't wait. The more you wait, the more things come up, and the more you will whatever. So strike while it's hot. Strike while the iron is hot, and that does help a lot when you are trying to get these collaborations going. But if you wait for a longer time, it kind of throws people off, and maybe you might get something else that might get into the way, and even then it might be when, like, you just left a conference and you're like, hey, let's collaborate. Next week, hit them up, like that Monday, hit them up and say, hey, you said we're going to collaborate. What are we going to do? And that's the way I think it will work better.
I mean, but there are people who are still going to be slow. How many things have me and you talked about doing or everything? And it took us literally even just to start this process. So sometimes,
and we're here.
Yeah, I'm saying, but all I'm saying is sometimes also you might strike when the iron is hot, but then the people are also not ready just because you strike, right? So it's because it's a collaboration. It's just not about you. I can reach out, but then if you're not responding back or acting on that, then again, it also becomes just a dry shit that we're pulling, which I understand. Sometimes it's timing. Sometimes, different strokes. Sometimes the time is not right and all that stuff. I mean, look at you. I've been begging you to send me your damn Sambaza t-shirt so I can create opening video. Oh, actually, I wanted that hat as well. But, and you don't want to do that. So I'm just saying.
Ola, have you sent me any merch?
You've never asked. You've never told me. I asked. We are not talking about we have to do it.
Okay. You keep throwing me on this merch every time we keep. Hey man, merch. I always have the merch. I always have. I told you I'm working on the merch stuff.
Yeah, you always say
Hey,
that you're always wearing your
okay,
merch. So it's like, okay, you can make a
that's my
t-shirt for
promo.
Paula and send it. I mean, look at Ralph. I told him I want your merch and I'll create a video. And he sent me and I did, and we have been doing amazing. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you can strike when the iron is hot still after meeting, and shit still might not work. Well, I'm sorry, Sambaza. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Start with the first scene.
Us has already taken options with regarding to the t-shirt stuff and say, hey, you know what? It'll come.
Yeah, but by
So
the time
just
it comes, I'm like, you know what? I don't even want Sambaza t-shirt right now. I'm over it.
things, maybe good things take time.
And that's what I was. So you see, so that's what my point was about. You can strike as early, but somebody else also has to be ready as well.
But at least they have the memory that, oh, we just talked, and then they still have that, and they're like, okay, fine, we'll put you in. It starts that conversation. That's why I said when you finish, just do it, because you wait long.
No, but that's my point about the conversation. We have so many conversations. I'm done with having conversations. I want the action, so I'm tired of the conversation. But let's get back to you were gonna start with the first scene.
Right, and here we are, comparisons. Now, if you're a podcaster and you're comparing each other, what do you think would be the best way to look at in terms of comparison? Are you looking at maybe comparing the quality of the maybe audio, video, quality of sound, quality of the way it's presented? What do we look in terms of comparison?
Let me ask this, because I don't compare with any other podcast. So I think it all comes to what is your reason of comparing to that podcast, because every comparison comes different. So if you're comparing like, oh my God, their sounds good, and if you can compare on the sound, you can compare on the video quality, you can compare on the content quality, you can compare on the marketing side, you can compare in different ways, but at the end of the day, it all depends on what's your reason of comparing to that particular podcast. And for me specifically, when it comes to comparison, the reason I don't do it, it's because everybody's journey is different. Everybody, I might compare to, we started at the same time. But her podcast is bigger than mine, either the following or whatever. But then, okay, if they were already popular on social media and you started from scratch, is that really, because there are people who are were already doing great with social media, whatever their background was. Or there are people who have a budget for social media, and then you're doing it yourself. So how is that even fair? Because if I could afford to hire the best people to market for me, of course I'll get bigger following and stuff. And maybe some people just want the big following number, while some of us want authentic engagement. That's why you remember I told you this last time. I'm like, most of the time I would go to my followers and unfollow people, because sometimes most of them are bots and everything, and I don't want to feel like, oh my God, I have 2,000 followers, when they are all wrong, especially those PR marketing people who slide in your DMs telling you if you pay $700 we'll get you on this promotion. They always follow you. All these people who are trying to get you to be their influencer, that they're saying they'll give you free stuff, all you have to do is paying shipping, they always follow you. So you might see you have a higher number, but you're not getting engagement because your followings are bots. So how are you going to get engagement? So there's that, there's the budget, there's the popularity, as I say. Even if me and let me say, who can I pick that a lot of people know? Let me just say Joe Rogan, because everybody talks about him, right? Imagine if we had started at the same time. But then he already still had a big background in being known with other things. So of course his followings are gonna be big. He had a bigger budget, he got a deal, he got this, and then me here, I'm starting from scratch, doing nothing. I don't have people in the studio creating anything. Of course that's like 0-0. And then niche, you can't compare somebody. I don't even know where my podcast belongs. Sometimes I'm like, it's on mental wellness. Sometimes it's education because there's creative journeys. Like I don't know where I belong. But there are those people who are very niched down. Like you can literally pinpoint where their podcast is. So imagine trying to compare my podcast and I'm comparing it to somebody like Dominic. Of course I'm gonna fail. Like that's proper storytelling that goes a lot into it. And me, I just sit, I had, like how am I gonna compare those two?
And that's where you come to learn and realize comparison. See, this is where we get that conversation. You say, okay, fine, we started with them. Why do they have this? Maybe this is the reason why they are different than you. You see, now we've already established by yourself. You said you cannot compare because one, you already made a comparison just by talking about it. You can say my podcast cannot be like this person because it cannot be done this particular way. And we've agreed. Some people have budgets. Some people have different ideas in mind. Some people are the genre that they're using is different, your niche, and also it's the goals. What goal are you? What's your end goal?
Exactly. Why are you comparing? And I love it. Shout out to the big word pod down there, Miss Kenda, who says smaller audience are often more engaged and loyal. And that's so true. I have this lady called Inam. She's a coach and she focuses on small audience. She's like, I love small audience because people are really there for you. Like once you have all these big, like all this followers, yes, they can be there for you, but the smaller audience really gets engaging. That's why sometimes even when I do a room or something and there are only 4 people or 3 people, I get more excited than having 10 people because you get to know people in a deeper level. You have time to really talk instead of just brush through because you're trying to give everybody a chance. So there's something special about a smaller audience. That's why when people are constantly, I want to grow,
that's comparison to, that's when you now compare the smaller audiences to larger audiences with the comparison. So you look at the difference of having a smaller audience. Maybe that podcast does not want a huge audience. Exactly. That podcast is.
That's why I see it all comes down to your why. Like, why are you comparing? The only way I compare, like even when it comes to my download or my numbers, is I look last year in June, where were my downloads? This year in June, where are my downloads? How can I do better? Did I grow? Did I not? That's the only. But when and the comparison, and I actually did a reel just a day ago about this. Comparison is the thief of joy, because you start going crazy and lose your authenticity because you're comparing to unrealistic measures, and then now you're switching because you want to be like them, but you're not meant to be. You're meant to stand out and be just you are and just keep going.
So for you, you don't want to compare. For me, I'm saying this. I am looking for, if I'm going to compare myself to somebody, say I look at another podcaster who maybe has the same genre as I have. I'll look at it and I'll compare. The reason why I'm comparing is I'm comparing to see where I can grow, where I as being a podcaster, right? So on the positives, you can look at that as being, don't try to be better than that podcaster. See what your podcast is doing at that time that can elevate itself, right? But not look at, say, oh, that guy does this because of this, because no, he has better equipment. Okay, I have this. Maybe can I buy that equipment? Maybe can I go spend more money and buy this equipment? No, what's my budget? My budget doesn't allow me. So what can I do to make myself be relevant? Well, if I cannot do it like that, then I have to stick with what I have. One, like you said, he has more downloads. I don't have downloads. Downloads may not be my thing. He may go live more times than you do, but my schedule does not allow me to go more live than he does, right? But when they go live, how much time do they use? You know, like when I started podcasting, people would say, "Oh, you have to spend 1 hour," or maybe people do 30 minutes. Some people do 10 minutes. Some people do 30 minutes. But you have to play around and see
What works
and
for you?
say, "Okay, works for you." But I had to compare with other podcasts. I'm like, okay, I want to do a 10-minute podcast, but in the 10 minutes, will I give you all the information that you want, or will I get that person to give all the right information? So you see, that's where I'm looking at comparison. Compare it for right.
But I don't
Look at where you will.
I don't call that comparison to me, because if you're doing it to grow or to be better, anything, to me, I call that research, market research. Like, it's not you're comparing yourself to another one, because you want. To me, comparison is you wanna be just like them, or like those when people say, "Why isn't my podcast getting all that when it's the same as this podcast?" That's comparison to me. But if you're doing it to better yourself, you're researching podcasts in your same niche, in your same genre, or a podcast that you believe, like, I know if I ever want to get in storytelling, I'm going to listen to the B Word and Dominic and really research and have meetings with it, because I want to be like I want to grow, be a better storyteller. So that's research. Like, I'm just researching how he does it, what he does. Like when you go to conferences, you're learning, right? These are podcasters who are sharing their journey. So that's not you going into rooms to compare. Oh, let me listen what this podcast is saying.
Are compared.
But that's the thing.
That's just compared.
For you, that's how you look at it. That's why I said, for me,
right.
I don't look at it as comparison, because in my head, comparison is what it is. For me, I look at that as research. I want to learn from that person because I admire the way he does it, or I like how he got to where he was, or I like what he does, because that's why people get mentors, right? You pick a specific person to be your mentor. It's not like you want to compare yourself to that person. No, you wanna learn from that person, so to me, I feel like, to me personally, there's a fine line between comparison and research. So if you are doing things, you're researching and not literally copying and pasting so that you can grow as fast as them, but learning and seeing what from what they are doing can work for you and cannot work. Like, you're really pulling it aside, like, okay, he does this, I have time for that, let me try to implement it, but let me implement it in my way that will work for me. How I take it.
Oh, okay. Well, at least now we agree. There's that, yeah. And it can really be harmful when you look at it that way and try to make those comparisons. Now, let's move to.
Yes. What's the second one?
When is it healthy competition? And when is it not? Is it when you start comparing? Because you just said comparison.
Yeah, because when you start comparing can also be unhealthy competition. But I think when you put so much, competition is good and bad, right? But when it starts becoming too much pressure and stress, it can also be a disadvantage. Competition is good in the process of where we are friends, right? Because when you're competing with somebody, healthy competition is always good. Healthy competition, just like when we have like Empowered Podcasting just had to give away to sponsorships to people, right? And they had to submit certain things. That is a healthy competition, and people get to put themselves in positions they'll never do, because now you have to record yourself under 1 minute and say all these things. So that is a setup for the future. Now you can be like, oh my God, I can record and talk about my podcast under 1 minute, or I can do that. So even whether you win or not, you have learned a new skill set in that competition, and there came something about it. So that, yes, but when you're competing and it gets evil, I'm trying to find an example of unhealthy competition. Is where you really get in your head until you lose the purpose of why you're competing. Because again, it all goes back to why. So if you were doing it just to either, oh, I'm doing it to win the sponsorship, or I'm doing it to be acknowledged, right? Because sometimes competition is about putting your brand in front of you. eyes, right? That is healthy, because whether you lose or not, people are hearing about your brand. People are talking about it because you're in a competition, right? So some people, that can be good enough because, like, oh my God, this is new eyes, this is market growth. There are other people who will like my shit and come to me, so you're already winning. So I'm all for healthy competition. I can't find an example for bad competition. Maybe you can. What's your thoughts?
I'm trying to think a way when it turns bad is when you lose focus of what your why is. Because when you start off and say, hey, I want to be that great podcaster, okay, let's have a friendly competition. Let's see how many downloads we can get this month. Then what are you going to do about it? Okay, and let's say you've had a conversation, or you may not have had a conversation with the particular podcast that you want to emulate, right? Let's say they have 500 downloads a week, and you say, I want to get myself to 500 downloads a week. So I would listen to the podcaster and say, look, I'm going to try and make it to that 500. Now, that is a form of, I think, healthy competition, because I'm competing. You may tell them, hey, look, I'm trying to get to see how I can get to 500 downloads just like you, right? But you're not hitting on that
Yeah,
person.
friendly competition. Friendly competition is good because it's kind of also accountability, holding each other accountable and helping each other grow. But go ahead, sorry.
Now the problem comes in. Now the person you're having the competition with, are they receptive to it? Do you have a good relationship with them such that when you don't make your 500 downloads, they tell you, hey boss, look, I didn't make this is how I make my 500 downloads. I do A, B, C, D, right? What did you do on yours? Then you come up and say, hey Paula, look, I tell you, hey Paula, look, I didn't make that 500, right? Let's say it was you and I. And then I tell you, Paula, look, I didn't make it because this is what I did. And you come and give me some gems. Now that becomes healthy. Now, when you decide, oh, yeah, I beat you, I still made 500, I still did blah, 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 there can be the banter, right? But healthy banter is good. Don't over stress it whether you win or lose, right? Just make it to whereby it's like, okay, you didn't make it, but this next time, let's do it one more time. This time, I want you to focus on this. Listen to my podcast this week. See what I've done. And that's when you go back to your comparison. You're telling the person, compare your podcast with mine. Let's see what you can do. What is it that I have done that has made me get my 500 downloads, and you got maybe 400 or 200 downloads? Let's see where we can help each other, right?
Yeah.
And guess what? It brings us to the third part. Collaborate.
Which is true. And I think healthy competition is not just competition or friendly competition. It helps you learn, grow, and just that. But if you're a jealous person, competition isn't for you. Because have you ever gone to those when you have friendly game nights, right? Everybody has that one friend who is the most annoying. They have to win. If they don't win, you know the entire night. Sometimes even you're like, you know what, let's just let him win, because nobody wants to hear what's gonna happen if he loses.
Right.
So people like those should not do. I think it becomes unhealthy when you're no longer competing against yourself, trying to do better than you did the last time. Exactly. And that's why even me, it comes down to when I say the only comparison I do is when I compare my June 2023, where were my downloads? June 2024, where are my downloads? So my competition is like, okay, my downloads have added up to 50 or 100. Next year, let's make them to 200. That is healthy competition. But then if you look at that and then I look at Sambaza's, okay, how much did you get? Damn, that's fucked up. You cheated. You must have done this and this. And then now you have this ego of just literally winning against Sambaza than actually what your main purpose of that competition was. So yes, it's kind of say when you stop like trying to compete with yourself. So that's why I said it's all about growing and learning. I feel like that's why I say competition is important, but also be careful. Like don't go over. Don't be that friend.
I know. it can get some competitions can wild. I've seen that happen.
Just watch Friends. If you ever watched Monica on game night, she all know she did not play.
I was part of a game night situation this past weekend. I was surprised, and I talked to some people, and I was like, wow, this is how y'all behave at game night. Interesting.
Oh my God, have you seen when people play Uno? I feel like Uno is that one game where
I think we had a spades. It was spades that was being played.
Get people wound up. In Tanzania, in Tanzania, we used to have that game. Ya karata, sijui nimesahau jina. Don't get me wrong, I pick my hobby. I want your consistency, but I'm using that to push myself to be better, not just me. Where we can actually start watching healthy competition, because now Kenda has an incredible podcast, which is also storytelling. And Dominic always says Kenda is a better storyteller. So Dominic has been winning all these awards, and now there's a new podcaster in the same house, and they're gonna even though Kenda is still the win is still in the house. But I want it's always like when you have you and your wife, and then you're supporting different teams, and those teams play together. Like, baby, I love you, but it's game day.
Yeah. True.
So
that's very true.
We will need to come back to competition once we see the Lawsons starting to get their awards, and we bring them on for a competition conversation.
Right. What when you talk about competition, what it means to them as being two podcasters having the same style, and one started, one got the awards, and then one says the other one's a better storyteller, and then here you are creating a new one that's coming out.
I know.
This is great. I love it.
The producer of the show, this magic over there. I think it will be a whole series, and I can't wait for what season. I'm excited because I love Dominic. I literally Dominic is like my big brother. I message him anytime shit is happening. But award season, I'm team the B word, because that podcast is my peer.
It's Mental Health Month. So please stop stressing us. We need some calmness in our. Please, let's help us. Help us, live peacefully till the end of the month. This competition, it raises our blood level. Oh, there's a new episode coming on Friday. Okay, I want to watch that.
Finally, because I have been crying and dying. My mentor. Oh my God. It's literally dropping on my birthday weekend. Like, this is the best birthday present ever. Like, can you be Friday? I'm over Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I get to I've been depressed without these episodes. If you haven't listened to the BY, I don't know, man. You're missing something in your life. And as soon as you dive in, I remember I told Soda, and Soda went to listen to it, and she was like, oh my God, Paula, I'm addicted. I'm like, I know. It's like when you have that your favorite show, you just started and it only comes once a month. Like, why the hell is it once a month and not every week?
Right. That's about that. So now with them being together, they collaborate. See, we moved. Oh, by the way, Kenda says happy birthday.
Thank you, baby. I'll be singing on the weekend, so I'll be.
Oh yeah.
You can tell it to me in my face.
Oh.
Yes, and this is a good entrance to collaboration, because as husband we were talking about them, and they do collab because they work together and they have a business together, and they're literally partners in life and in
right.
That's the ultimate collaboration. But go ahead, bring us home with collaboration.
So and this the comparison, and we say there's a competition, and then finally now we're getting into collaboration. Now the collaborations, when you have that healthy competition and you talk about whatever you're doing, like say for example, we do podcasting, we talk about our downloads, we talk about how we can create growth, or we come together and say, hey, you know what? I can get your downloads higher by showing you what to do, or I can guest on your show and you can guest on mine, and that will probably raise the viewership for you at this time, and maybe we can cross pollinate our listeners. That could be now where you probably started with comparisons, and then let's say we do this, right? I'm going to look at the journey. I compare myself to a particular podcaster and say, wow, they do this podcast very well. I want to be like them. What can I do to be like them? I try and figure it out. I can't find what the juice is, right? So then I try to get into like a friendly competition, ask them, hey, what can I do? I'm trying to get my downloads. Let's see if I can make it to be like you. The person says, hey, you know what? Great. Let's do it. Let's see how we can do, maybe do 2 shows and see what you can do. You've already compared and seen what they have done. Maybe it's your audio quality, the time frame, it's your, whatever it is, right? Then after that, you come back and you have the conversation and say, hey, you know what? How about we collaborate? Now, that's the third part about it. And I want you to talk about what do you think about collaboration?
Oh, I'm big on collaborations. I love collaborations. And that's why I like people sending me their match so I can create videos. And when I go, that's why lately, starting with when I went to Podfest this year, that's why I decided to go there with specific match for specific people and create this content. That's also part of collaborating, because we are literally right there. I'm watching them open their match for me, and I'm shooting the content and we're using it. And that's collaboration, because we literally created content together and I'm posting. And I love the collaboration thingy on Instagram. I wish it could have, like, after you post, Instagram, if you're hearing this, I wish if once you post, you can still go back and edit and invite somebody to collaborate, just like how you can tag somebody even after posting. Because it's so weird when you create a video, and I know there's certain people who have a specific way how they want their Instagram frame to be, right? So not everybody wants your at a specific time. So it feels so weird to just invite somebody to collaborate, and they're like, why is she inviting me? I don't want this. But what if you don't do it at that time, you can never do it in case somebody actually wants it. So I hate that part. But and people underestimate the power of collaboration, because you are blending 2 accounts, your people, my people. Especially, that's why I was so happy with the invite to collaborate on Instagram. And I used to tell people, please use it, because instead of me posting the same shit and you're posting the same shit, we can have it and get more engagement. And it's funny, when I did a Father's Day post, for the first time ever, I invited my dad to collaborate. I didn't even know that man would be able to figure it out in approving it or anything. And he did. And it has had higher numbers after when my dad approved. And I was like, excuse me? This but it's things like those. And that's why cross promotion. I really want to do more of guest hosts on different podcasts. I don't want to be interviewed as much, but I want to guest host. People are sleeping on guest hosting. Like, you sound confused. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay. And somebody actually interviewed me 2 days ago, and he was like, I'd like you to be a guest host for when I celebrate my 100 episode. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, or when you bring somebody, like, when you have milestones, whether it's your podcast anniversary, whether it's your whatever, you invite somebody to come and interview you. I did it last year for my birthday. I invited somebody to come interview me on my own podcast so they could get Kenda here, right here. Oh my God, which was one of the best moments of this year. When she had the B word and she did her first IG live, she asked me to be the interview and everything. So there was me, Kenda, and Christine, and all the 3 IGs going live and us sharing the collaboration. It was more viewership. Until today, that post still keeps getting liked. shout outs, giving people shout outs, especially even your listeners, right? You can collaborate with your listeners. Because imagine if a listener, if you already know you have this person who constantly tells you your podcast helps me, I listen to your podcast. I know there's one person who, as soon as my podcast goes live, is always the first person to listen. Even one day was like, I'm so sorry I'm late on listening to your podcast. I'm going to listen to it now. So people like those, if you know them, you give them a shout out, they're gonna go tell their friends, oh my God, I got a shout out on this episode. Listen, that's collaboration, is that? Or you bring that fun to your show,
Right.
and have a conversation with them. Like, there's so many ways to go about content swap, network participation, live events, especially at conferences. That's the best place to make content with people, because half of the time we have to do content virtually. Do you know how many? I've been constantly ordering shit on Amazon and everything. I'm going with the biggest suitcase to Empowered Podcasting Conference because of all the merch and stuff I want to do with people, because I'm there. We are already here. Let's make content. I'm just literally going for collaboration. Even Empower, if you go to Clubhouse sessions or something, you see how sometimes when they talk about me or specific thing about me, I take that and put it on Instagram and invite everybody who was there, like either the Empowered Podcasting Instagram or everything, invite to collab. You're giving them more eyes on them, but also their people's eyes are coming on you, and that's why I do it. So play around with collaboration. I'm a big fan of collaboration, and also the best thing about collaboration for people who are not financially there like me, right? There's certain services we can't always pay for. And this is where me and Soda, me and Jackie, we do things like barter trade. Listen, you're good at this. Create this for me. I'm good at this. I'll do this. And that's also collaborating, and also exchange of services. So don't sleep on that.
Yeah, I do love collaboration. I think I did kind of sleep on it. I actually not kind of. I did sleep on it, but
I used
now
to shout
I
at
think
you,
on
collaboration.
and I think right now at year 4, going to year 5, I'm realizing the power of collaborations. And right now I have a couple of collaborations that I have to do. That's even besides us, and the other one with Jen of Walk by Accident podcast, which is what we do every Wednesday. You know, midweek we always do that, or unless
Oh
we
my
have
God, I
something
just
that goes on.
want to say, your latest episode I enjoyed when you guys did the recap. That was Jen was at the Friday night Empowered Podcasting Room, so I told her, but that was, you see, and I like that. You know, people forget that with your podcast, you can play around with it. You know, you don't always have to have guests. You can have recap. You can bring our old guests and ask them, listen, or you can like a follow up, like all that amazing shit. That I was very happy about that.
That was a great. And I looked at it. I was like, wow. It had a lot of views, and a lot of the people who we had before came back to listen to it and gave us good reviews. So it's great. Thank you so much, Paula. And that's one of the collaborations that I'm doing. I'm kind of getting into more collaborations
Yeah, we are also
with
collaborating.
This is standard. One way or the other, we had to have gotten something coming off from. Remember when we came off from Afros and Audio. So yeah, and I think I did love the collaborations, and it teaches you a different aspect. You know, when you're solo doing things on your own, you get to your ways, and then now when you're told, hey, you got to do collaborations, now you have to think, and now
your creative juices jump higher, because you're like, damn, I wouldn't have talked about that, but now we are, you know, somebody's bringing an idea and you're like, damn, we can go this way, like it flows your creative juices, collaboration.
Right. And sometimes it also helps, it gives you help, because now you have a partner who helps you do other things that you'll probably be doing yourself. So you're sharing resources, sharing time, sharing knowledge as well, you know, and out of it, at the end of the collaboration, however long it lasts, or if it's going to be that's the way it's going to be, you look at it as, what did I get out of it? Was I, like you remember you said, your comparisons, we're going back to comparisons. You're now going to compare yourself. When we started doing this thing, how has it turned you into a different podcaster than you were before? For me personally, I do this right now, even before, as we get into this particular month, your birthday month, June. um I have learned to use Instagram. I'm appreciating Instagram. I was scared of doing Instagram, but here I am. I am doing Instagram with you, Paula, because remember, you pushed me and told me Instagram. I was asking you to do something else. Remember that? But you said, hey, why don't we go to Instagram? And here we are.
The reason I pushed you that, it was because you were already doing that with Jen. I didn't want you to stick on the same thing. I was like, let's do it this way, and then we'll figure out how to spread it. That way you have that, you have this.
And I don't think I will want to move to any other medium yet, if that comes in. But as long as Instagram is still here, we're going to work on Instagram, because I believe this might be another opportunity. Maybe I'll go live on my own and then talk to my listeners, the Sambaza out there, and have some conversations with them, just like the way you do it. But till then, I'm learning how to operate.
Speaking of collaborations, and you saying maybe one day you will go on Instagram live by yourself to a Sambaza. I'm gonna give you this free idea, and you better do it. You remember when I started doing my Say Your Shit, where I would go live every Tuesday 9 a.m. for like 15 minutes?
Right.
You should, because Sambazaji already sounds like a newspaper, like a news thingy, like tunasambaza habari. So I think and start slow. Choose a day that works for you, that works for your listeners, and go 10 minutes a week, just giving them the habari is our Sambazaji. Or you can also start being like, you go live with, because you have already created a community, our Sambazi community. You don't do an hour, you either do 15 to 30. You bring one of your Sambazaji listeners. This is not a podcaster, not nothing. A listener, a fan, a supporter. And then you ask them to share one of your episodes that really empowered or changed them, because that's also habari, unasambaza habari, and also create more. So get on that. I'm off here for that. Let's do that.
Great pointer. I will say, yeah, we're gonna get to it. I believe
me, I like pushing you, so I will be on your WhatsApp pushing you, like, so when I start. But I feel like
we're on right now, and
I'm all for collaboration.
What are your
I think people need to do more of it. Less talking about, we should collabo, but literally go out there and collabo. And sometimes you don't even need to do it with people you know. Such episodes, such podcasters in your niche, and just reach out, just like how you would reach out to a guest to come on your show and be like, hey, I see we have similar episodes. Maybe we can do a promo sub. Maybe we can create a content together, because I can shoot, you can shoot, we just edit pieces and put them together, and voila. When I did one time, I did the Thanksgiving live with I was part of the empowered community. I mean, not empowered community, sorry. I was part of connection communities in Clubhouse. This was back in 2020, 2021. I was a moderator. Most of the people are in Canada. So we wanted to do a Thanksgiving episode, but only for the girls who were the moderators of that. And leading up to that, we were creating content. Like, everybody was shooting. I just told them to just send me saying, I'm thankful for, without saying what they're thankful for. And we just blended them together. And, so you don't have to be with each other in person to create content. And I was the only one in Atlanta. They're all in Canada, but also different states. So it still works. Just shoot your shot on these content creators. And trust me, there are a lot of content creators who love to collaborate, who would say yes to collaborate. So don't sleep on that. I'm big on that.
I believe so. So we're going to wind down and say, what are you planning on this week? in 2 minutes, just tell us what you're expecting for your birthday and for this week.
To be honest, I'm planning to just be happy this week. Like, all I want to do is just, I know I have a new episode, a Shit Happens episode coming out on Wednesday, which is going to be with Sid, because we're ending the Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and Sid is part of the Empowered Podcasting Room, who recently sponsored 2 tickets to amazing people. I mean, fully sponsorship. But he also came to Shit Happens, and his episode, this is the last season, is closing down his podcast. So we talked about exit, and I feel like even with our mental health, sometimes the reason our mental health is high is because we don't know when to leave certain things when we're supposed to leave, right? The fear of leaving, because sometimes we attach ourselves with the identity of those things instead of just us. So we feel like, oh, if I leave this job, who am I gonna be? Or if I do this, who am I? So we talk about the exit plan and why it's not the end. So I feel like it was a good episode to end Men's Mental Health Month. So I'm excited about that. I am going to Empowered Podcasting event in Charlotte. There are free tickets. I have a way for you to get a free ticket if you can make it. If you wanna come and you just want a ticket, reach out to me. We're gonna be in Charlotte from Friday to Sunday, and I'm looking forward to meeting all my empowered podcasting people, and some of Podfest members are also gonna be there. Some of the black Afros and Audios are gonna be there. Black Association. So it's gonna be a full room of content creating and drinking a lot of Budweiser for me because it's my birthday. I hope there's cake. I'm turning 35, so if y'all want my cash app, let me know. I'm accepting every donation for my birthday because it's a holiday. It's Talk Shit with Peace, but well, not Talk Shit with Peace, but the shit talker of Talk Shit with Peace birthday. So, yeah.
All right. What's up? Well, for me, I think we're still on. You remember I told you we had at the beginning of the show we had this protest march.
Are you going?
And I said what?
Are you going?
No, we already.
No, I thought you said you had another one sometime this week.
The one that was going to be happening tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow, but what we're doing is right now we're trying to create awareness.
Did you take your kids? Sorry, but did you take your kids with you?
No, they didn't want to come, but I wish I'd taken them. It was probably a good idea. So
Are you muted?
No, no.
Because you your mouth was talking, but nothing.
Oh, okay. They learned how to be. They need to learn how to start. Things like voting and know how to get it work. Like know how to work around how to do a protest, how to be in a protest, how it feels like to be in a protest, which is peaceful. They don't want to. I don't want them to get into a situation where they're in one that is, out there that is like weird and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So this one would have been a great one, but I'm hoping that they will take them to do something else. However, on top of out of that, we're now having better conversations regarding our and having a lot of conversations on the background regarding what we had done. And I'm looking forward to things happening in this coming month. And I'll be posting videos out there. So anyone who's listening right now, if you go to Sambaza podcast online I think I'll post them on TikTok, Twitter, and any other medium that has video, or YouTube as well. And it'll show what we have done and probably what we're going to do in the near future.
Oh my God!
So we have
you can actually start with Sambaza right now. We're bringing, if you can find Gen Zs in Kenya and having those 10-minute conversations to continue bringing awareness.
That's what we're having the plans on. I think that's one of the plans. I don't know what the other team has in mind, but that's what we're looking for. So For everyone else who's been listening to us, thank you so much. And who's been watching us today, thank you so
We
much.
will be back in July. I have a feeling this time we'll be back on the actual Saturday of the last month, but we'll keep you guys posted. So. Why? There's nothing happening at the end of July.
That's my birthday.
When's your birthday?
25th of July.
It's not the last Saturday of the month.
It's not. So we'll make it, right?
Hold on, let me see. 1 minute. I have the calendar right here. 20 what?
25th.
It's gonna be Thursday of the, and then the last Saturday of the month is 27th.
Well, then I'll be coming in from California. That's where I'm planning.
So we'll do it the Saturday before, the 20th. That way you don't.
Yeah, we can do the Saturday. No, the Saturday. Maybe. Paula, we're gonna talk about it. Which one?
Fully booked.
That week is crazy. That week is crazy.
It's okay. We'll figure it out.
In all sense, guys.
Thank you all for hanging out with us. Kendall.
Right. Happy birthday, Paula. All right.
Cash App. Don't
enjoy.
Happy birthday. If you're not gonna send Sambaza, send Cash App. Okay.
All right. We'll let's scroll on the screen. Scroll it on the screen down here. Let it scroll, and then let's see it. All right, Paula. And Sambaza, good night. See you all later next month.
Bye, shit talkers.
Bye.
This October 18th to the 20th, don't miss the go-to event experience for aspiring, new, and seasoned Black indie podcast creators and audio professionals. Now spanning 3 action-packed days. The 6th Annual Afros and Audio Podcast Festival in Baltimore, Maryland will be a weekend of panels, workshops, and networking designed to elevate your podcasting game. Join us at the Reginald F. Lewis Museum and book your discounted room at True by Hilton Baltimore Harbor East. The festival jumps off with a live show and kickoff party on Friday, followed by a weekend of networking, learning, and celebration. You'll get to engage with industry leaders through educational tracks, an awards evening, and close out with pivotal discussions on Sunday. Afros and Audio is where the Black podcast community unites to forge stronger connections and gain valuable insights. We'll see you in October to secure your spot for an unforgettable experience. Visit afrosandaudio.com to secure your ticket today.